my attempt, you know. I talked about suicidal attempt earlier on, whereby in some cases the family members need to be very vigilant because there must have been some things going on before the issue of suicide comes in. It doesn't just come out of a blue for an individual to take his or her life. A heavy downturn in business, marital issues as well. Marital issues when they become so severe, and for some female, I've seen over time, issue of infertility, of infertility, not having a child, and people around him or her rather, siblings, friends, and all that have so many children to show, that individual becomes withdrawal, and so many things we people go through. So the issue of how to bounce back and deal with such issues comes into play there. Suicide is not the way out, like I tell people. I shared an experience with one of my patients who attempted suicide. I said, for a beggar who is lame and crawling on the road and begging for alms, still hopeful and surviving every day, begging people to live, to feed, compared to you who had financial downturn, how you're dealing with adversity. It's where we need to work on. There would always be challenges. What are the major challenges of life? Oh, money. Yes, we are only running around for three things. The first three things that our life revolves around is we want to get married and have children, have a roof over your head, then have a car to drive. Those are the things we are running around for. Food is in between. Because if you don't have money to buy fuel today, you will leave your car and eat with the money. Tomorrow will be a better day. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I would also like to hear Prof speak to this, talking about experiences, because I know that he's well grounded. I mean, whilst he was still in academics before he retired, when he was the Vice Chancellor of Babcock University, you've experienced lots of students, lots of staff, and I personally have been in one of your sessions where we spoke about marriages and some of the problems that couples face that typically would lead to depression and probably suicidal cases. Would you like to speak to one of the experiences, sir?
Thank you very much. I will speak to that, but I will also have a question of my own, because a lot of times people come to, you hear the title, you hear the status, and people imagine that you have all the wisdom. So they come with questions like, what is a parent supposed to do when your adolescent, when your teenager suddenly switches off? Because we have been looking at the patient, in quote, the individual. We are hardly looking at their socio-cultural environment, the people that surround them. And of course, you doctors have said that when somebody is sick, it's not just that individual, it's the whole environment that, people that live with them. Now, the teenager turned off and is not speaking, it's not violent, but just cuts off. It's losing interest, losing energy, very lethargic. The parents are desperate, they're trying to find out, and just keeping quiet. It's not, and just says, well, look, it's not worth nothing, nobody's interested in me. I'm not really worth much. That's just a little text message sent to the parents. I might as well leave, since all I just succeed in doing is getting in everybody's way. Feeling that And the parent said, sir, help, what do I do? Now, communications broken down, and yet they still live within the same space. What does the parent do? So while responding to that, I want somebody to, okay.
Thank you very much, Prof. I want to give an example before I now start talking. During COVID, a very good friend of mine called me and said, I think there's something going on. I think one or two of them had COVID in the house, so everybody had to stay in their rooms. So she was just giving the person that had COVID food, you know. So that was the beginning of the problem. So she now called and said her daughter was now keeping to self. She wasn't communicating, she wasn't doing anything. I said, you need to bring her out. So, you know, the usual thing we do is, we want, particularly maybe our boys, go and wash that car. You go and sweep that place. Go and clean that. I said, that has to stop. Now you have to be doing things with her. So when you're in the kitchen, you call her. And you do it together, whatever you're doing there. And you just begin to talk. Just talk. I remember when I was in university. I remember da. Just talk. That child is listening. We are starting from the beginning. So if you do all that when it doesn't work, then you need to call for the professional. So I told her, so you need to get her involved with you. Don't leave her alone. Call her. Tell her to come and do your hair. Losing it. You are doing something. Call her to stay with you. And so don't leave her alone. So that's the mistake we made. It's like a friend traveled, she went to the UK, and she said the house where she stayed in, it was the son's birthday. And the boy did not come down all day. He was in his room. I said on his birthday that she was worried. The mother wasn't worried. I said, do you think those people living in the abroad, do you think they are okay? Even Nigerians that have lived there long enough, they've started thinking like them. How can your child stay in the room all day and you are not bothered? You will not go and check. And it's the child's birthday. It is wrong. I said in my house, when one of my children wanted to do that, when he was a lot younger, be locking door. I told the father, go and remove that lock. This is my own house. When you have your house, you can do whatever you want. You know, my father sent me to school and I went. So what I'm doing now is because I obeyed. So if you want, don't go to school. That's but me, this is my house. You cannot lock your door. So we removed the key. You know, that cylinder, whatever, I removed it so I can enter. I will knock. It's not as if I'm not going to respect your privacy, but I must be able to have access to what you are doing. How can you lock your door? I don't know what is inside there, your wardrobe, under the bed. It's when you enter, you will see. When they started using drugs, you see paraphernalia of drug use. You start seeing matches. You start seeing this one, that one. You know that there's something going on. So we cannot allow these children to do all that. So you bring them close. So after for the meal, go and wash the car with him. Even if you won't wash it, stay with him. So you teach him, when I was washing my father, this was how my father taught me how to do it. Can you change the tire? Teach him how to change the tire. Do you understand? So we are doing things together, not command them. And a few weeks later, she called me. She said, for me, thank you very much. It's fine. Everything is back to normal. That is because she is educated. She knew that there was something wrong. So we got it early. For some because sometime during your narration, you said lethargic, not doing anything, not moving, then that is becoming towards moderate to severe. You can't wait. You need to get help. Forget about what people will say. That's not your business. Must not die. You don't, for example, psychiatric hospital Yaba is a tertiary institution, but we don't take referral notes because we understand the significance and the gravity of these things. So anybody can work it at any point in time. You can't go to UCH like that. You can't go to LUT. If you don't have a referral letter, they won't answer you. Isn't it? They won't. But here you can come in because we understand what is going on. So call, please. I hope I said it the other time. Don't keep things to yourself. It doesn't make sense because we can't help. You can't help that child. So ask for help. That thought will come. Hey, my child is going to psychiatric hospital. What will people say? But is it not better that you look at that child 10 years time and that child is functioning, is married, has children, is doing well, is doing well, telling you, daddy, come, I'll send ticket to you. Is it not better? So we don't look at the now. We look at the good.